It's that time of the month and you're looking for a sweet treat.
Ladies, you know what we're talking about. You want to have a delicious treat, something to satisfy your cravings, but also want it to be healthy and not disrupt your blood sugar. Well, that's what we are going to be making for you today.
Yeah, right on. My name is Malcolm Saunders.
And I'm Selin Bilgin, the founder of Luscious Living.
Right on, and we are here in the Light Cellar Teaching Kitchen, and we're about to show you how to create this incredible, delicious recipe. One that is out of my book called Chocolate Life, and what is so great about this?
Many things. I will start. Well, let me even share what's so great about it, Malcolm,
Okay.
as someone who's on the outside, is you have easy to follow, delicious recipes that are not crazy. You know, you can find them here at the Light Cellar. They are, again, easy to make, totally satisfy the sweet tooth. That's coming from an outside perspective. Let's continue.
Yeah.
What do you love about your book?
Well, no, what I was going to say is, what's great about this recipe is that you can customize it, and that's why Selin is here. So this is kind of a collaboration. So, you know, this is a base recipe. I should let you know what it is. So in the book, it is called the Reishi Lavender Bliss Truffles, and this really stuck out for Selin as we're thinking about, okay, what do we want to prepare? And, you know, it's a template, it's a concept. It's something that we had a base of that we turned into 6 different flavors once upon a time. But Selin has come with her own kind of ideas and inspiration related to, hey, it's that time of a month, you know, what many women go through. And so that's what we're going to lead you through.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea
That's
of
right.
customizing it. So everything we talk about, we'll talk about, you know, alternates and different versions that you can do and have your own spin on it. And part of this is inspired by, of course, the work that you do in the world. You're the author of The Painless Period Guide,
Yes.
and you've been teaching workshops here at Light Cellar and other places around
Yes.
town and online, and got an amazing reach and just helping empowering women with their cycle, with their hormones to, like you say, luscious living, feeling radiant. And so we've got a class coming up on Friday that you're teaching,
Yes.
and we wanted to prepare this for the guests. There'll be a number of incredible women joining in person as well as online. And if you want to, go to lightcellar.ca. You can see under our Learn tab all the classes and events. There's still an opportunity to join. And of course, go ahead and follow Selin on Instagram at Luscious Living. And let's dive in. So.
Yes.
The truffles, though the recipe has, you know, reishi and lavender, and it has its own particular spin, what you're going to learn here is a new spin, something different related to Selin's expertise. So let's go ahead and start. Chocolate, of course, amazing. We're working with cacao paste and cacao butter as our base. Now the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of each of those melted, and ended up doing it separate in each bowl. So you put the cacao paste in a bowl, put that into a double boiler that just gently melts it. Same with the cacao butter. Do we need to measure? Are you worried about this at all?
No.
No? Here, I'm going to let you do all this.
All right.
Yeah, you have some fun mixing. So there's our cacao paste melted. There's the cacao butter going in there as well. Let's just take a spatula. Let's get all that out. So,
I wish you could see the color, and by the way, it's this gold and beautiful color with the cacao paste.
Yeah, all right. Okay, great. Now, already we're into variations. Within that original recipe, it called for a base of cashew butter, which is amazing. You can use cashew butter, but I asked Selin ahead of time, I was like, well, what do you want to use, right? Is cashew butter what you want to try? Is there something else that would be better, a better fit? Not only for flavor, I know your mind was going, okay, like flavor is one thing, but there was something else.
Some
when we
health
talked
benefits.
about, okay, what about hazelnuts? What about almonds, Brazil nuts? You know, each has its own nutrient profile.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your thinking behind that?
You know, I love coconut because it's one of those healthy fats that work for most people, okay? We need healthy fat to build hormones. And for so long, we've stayed away from fat for various reasons, but we actually want to have the saturated fat in coconut oil, right? We've heard a lot about avoiding saturated fat, but when it's coming from a vegetable, or I guess really a fruit, like coconut, this is not something that, you know, you can really overdo. No one's going to sit and eat, you know, an excessive amount of coconut. It's the foods that come in a package that have saturated fat is what we're looking at. that we want to reduce or even avoid.
It's so funny you mentioned, it was a bit of a slip there, like vegetable.
Yeah,
You know, and like
yes.
vegetable oils, that's
Yes.
actually something we should be avoiding. It's
Absolutely.
so horrible, so toxic, and in fact, what they deem as vegetable oils, it's so funny, they're not even vegetables.
They're not vegetables, and it's interesting. I was reading a study about heated canola oil is even more damaging, but what do most of us, well, most people have been taught to do is heat your canola oil,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah,
You
very
know,
unstable, very unhealthy.
very unstable, exactly, and that's when it's heated is starting to cause that inflammation in the body. So coconut is a great oil to cook with, to make your chocolates with. Big fan.
Yeah, and keyword saturated fat versus these polyunsaturates, which again, people are heating and refined and totally processed. Not good. All right, so we got some good, delicious, nourishing, beautifying fats from the cacao, from the coconut butter. So instead of cashew butter, we're using coconut butter. That's something that we make here in house. And now we just kind of get to play. You know, more ingredients that are going to go into this. You know, this is going to be a delivery system for
Yes.
some herbal support.
Yes, medicine.
So what we've kind of narrowed in on, we identified, is we're going to work with a little bit of holy basil, as well as, well, let's start one at a time. Got to bring up with my little measuring cup here, measuring spoon. Okay, so in the recipe it calls for medicinal mushrooms, and which is great and wonderful. We're going to go with holy basil, one of the great premier adaptogens of the world. It is an extract. This isn't just holy basil leaf, so we're adding that in.
So it'll be strong, aka it will be strong as an extract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And great effect on the nervous system. You know, as an adaptogen, help regulate that nervous system stress response. You know, help kind of reduce the anxiety that we can get into around stressful circumstances, but also help bring the body back to normal, you know, as quickly, because we can't avoid stress.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
But we
Our
can
last
turn it.
conversation. Yes, exactly. And something I love about holy basil is because of the nervous system regulation you're speaking about, our body is beautifully designed for either fertility or for survival. And when we are in survival mode, then it is going to impact whether it's spotting, whether it is infertility, whether it's painful periods. And so I like having the holy basil as an ally to really combat stress or really navigate life with a herbal ally.
Amazing. Okay, let's put a little pinch of salt. And then next we're going to put in our sweetener. I think you pour all that in. So that's maple syrup. And some of this I've pre-measured, most of it I haven't. I just brought the book out just to kind of reference. Here we are, just kind of freestyle winging this as we go. So other options that you had brought to the table as potentials were goji juice powder, ginger root, and rose powder. Now, we could go with rose powder, but there was this idea, the suggestion that maybe we could add in rose hydrosol. So any which way you get the rose in, whatever you have access to, very nice, very lovely. And it's almost a choice here that you're going to make because we don't want to add too much liquid. If you're following along now and you're familiar with some of the recipes that I teach, I mean, this is basically a delicious chocolate. Like we could pour that and it could just be like a solid chocolate bar once it sets, and everyone will enjoy it. But we're making a truffle. We're making something that's more like texture of a ganache. It's going to be soft. It's going to be fudgy. And how we're going to achieve that is partly from the coconut butter, because though it is a saturated fat, it's not as solid or as hard as the cacao butter, so it's going to have a little bit of softness. But the next thing that we're adding in is a liquid, a tea base. And in the book, it's just as water, but just know that you can replace that water with any sort of liquid. So a herbal tea or a hydrosol. Now, I know this is going to be hard for you to choose.
I know, between two favorites.
Two favorites. So is it going to be like rose hydrosol to bring in that nice, like floral, feminine essence, or is it going to be the nettles, which is, you know, deeply nourishing in its own right?
Okay, ladies, I'm going to go with the rose. Let me know in the comments if you would have picked rose or nettle. And the reason, let me say, please do sip your nettle tea along with your truffle, and here's why. Nettle is powerful for so many reasons. I want to say, first of all, physically, very high in iron. As you know, especially if you have heavy periods, if you are spotting, you definitely are going to feel the lack of iron through fatigue. Iron, if you especially are feeling that fatigue, drink it before your period, drink it during your period. It will really elevate your energy. And energetically, this is a little bit more unscientific, if you will, but you know, you might notice a difference for yourself, is stinging nettle I found really helps with boundaries and really being able to, I want to say, be less of a people pleaser in that way, because I know that as women especially, we want to make people happy. We want to be there for people, and when we are in a little bit more of an imbalance with that, nettle tea can energetically really support us. That's you know, something I've experienced that I quite love.
Cool. I love that. The wisdom of nettle, right? It's still there. It's still supportive. It's still like, you know,
Yes.
holding her own in all her beauty.
Yes.
But if you come and you rub her the wrong way, you know, like
Totally,
that sting is
exactly.
there to protect those boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, and you know what? Okay, we've got our rose hydrosol. Let's just for like, you know,
Balance.
a little bit. We're not going to put in a full
Yep.
quarter cup of nettle tea. It's kind of a little bit of
I
both.
like it.
So now let's give that a stir. And this is the kind of recipe that maybe it might all come together just in the bowl, stirring, or we could also just throw it into the blender and give it a nice, just a quick zip to bring it all together. But this looks like it's mixing quite
Yeah, it looks
nicely.
really good.
No problem. So
Yep.
if you look behind you there, in that drawer, it says utensils. Set
Yes.
one down, grab 2 spoons, and let's have a taste. And I'll just quickly review the list, make sure I haven't forgotten anything off the... Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Create some magic here. All
Yep.
right.
Wow, there's layers to that. That's so good.
Whoa.
That's very good.
Okay. I think everyone's going to be happy with that.
Yep, I think so too. I think so too.
Okay, excellent. So now you can just literally eat out of the bowl. No.
That is the next step.
That is the next step. But the next step actually is to pour it into molds. So you can I do recommend silicone, which is a fairly inert, stable material. It's got a high heat tolerance, though we're really not, the temperature's already been done. Like we added a little bit of heat to melt these ingredients, but there's nothing about this that is hot by any means. So we're just gonna pour it into these molds. You choose, we can do flat, but if we do something flat, we're gonna have to then, you know, kind of cut it out and shape it, which is no problem.
Let's do these molds.
Okay,
Yeah.
so these ones are kind of like some half orbs, circles. So we're just gonna pour them in, and then we'll pop them in the fridge, and then within an hour, for sure, they're gonna be set. And again, it's not gonna be hard like a chocolate bar that you can break, but it's gonna be
It's a satisfying fudginess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to grab a cutting board so we can have that just kind of as a base of the truffles. And then I'll just pour the first one, and then I'll let
This
you
is
kind of do the
years of
rest.
experience, folks.
Right, there we are, right to the top. Oh, I messed up a little bit. That's okay.
So one question I have about chocolate, whenever I've made chocolate, maybe this is on the stove top, if I have a little bit of water drop in, the whole thing gets ruined.
Yeah.
And how can we do how come that didn't get ruined?
I know. So it's a thing. It's a technical term called seizing. The fat is hydrophobic, so it wants to kind of pull itself away, so it has to seize up, unless you just kind of force it and mix it. And that's sometimes why the blender is required, to like bring that together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
Thought it was a heat thing.
No.
But this just goes to show how easily you can make your own truffles or chocolate at home with a few
Yeah.
simple ingredients.
All right, well, that's it, folks. Let's not bore you with us just kind of standing here and pouring it. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Selin, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sharing your expertise and having fun creating these recipes. Again, if you want to join Selin this Friday night, coming right up, go to lightcellar.ca, check out the classes, and if you're watching this video after the fact, you know what? Selin might be presenting again. We might have it as a recorded. You never know. Go to Learn tab on lightcellar.ca. Check out, there's the recorded classes, there's live classes. This is the live one coming up. We'd love to see you there. You'll get to taste these and learn everything that you can turn your cycle into your superpower. What a concept.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for watching, and I cannot wait to meet you and see you on Friday. Bye, everyone.
All right.